As we get to the end of a business year, we have to ask, what are the major questions that every entrepreneur and business owner must answer for their employees and themselves? Hey, it's Scott Beebe with the Business on Purpose platform with the podcast. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, subscribe to us there, and also, of course, our Business on Purpose podcast. You know, we get questions to us basically saying, hey, what questions am I missing? What are the questions out there that I need to be asking? What are the blind spots that I need to be looking at? So I thought I would tell you this story. It's one that I'll never forget. My son and I were on an 18-foot center console boat on the edge of the Port Royal Sound in the lowcountry of South Carolina when all of a sudden this thunderous squall line formed just to our west and began to really bear down on us. And so we had a decision to make. Do we sit in the middle of this torrential rain and lightning storm, or do we make a run for it? So just to give you context, we were about 20 minutes away from the boat landing. In this particular part of the sound, the seas can really churn up pretty bad. And within 2 minutes of going full throttle on our Mercury 150, we were surrounded on all sides by this summer squall that had come in. Hindsight, being more sober than present reality, of course, we continued to throttle down at about 30 knots, what seemed like 10-foot visibility. It could not have been farther than that. And equipped with a simple Navionics boating app right on my phone, I kept my head down and I focused on the GPS map while my teenage co-captain had his head up and his eyes peeled so he could call for a last-second kind of swerve maneuver just in case he saw us come up on something, which heading at 30 knots would have been hard to do anyway, but the storm was relentless. It felt like we were riding blind for about 30 minutes. It was probably more like 8 to 10 minutes, but it was confusing, it was chaotic, it was exhilarating, and probably wasn't very wise looking back, honestly. But amid the uncertainty of that moment, here are some truths that we could count on. We knew where we were headed. We were headed towards a defined destination, the Lemon Island boat launch. We knew what route we were taking, the Chichesi River. We knew what vehicle we were committed to, an 18-foot Henry O center console. You can look that up. And we knew what kind of engine we had to work with, a Mercury 150, two-stroke. We also knew exactly why we were heading that direction, basically to stay alive, to make it back home, to be able to tell the story. Owning a business is peppered with days just like that. The surprise squalls of unexpected tax bills, frustrated customers, misaligned employee expectations where you're just missing each other, and a lack of perfect efficiency. So to help us navigate through the chaos of business ownership and the life of an entrepreneur, I wanted to lay out 5 questions that every entrepreneur must answer for their employees and also for themselves. So let's start with number 1. First, we've got to answer the question, where are we going? Fortunately, there's been a surge of good teaching, training, and resources around building up a powerful vision story. Your vision, we talk about it all the time, mybusinessonpurpose.com/vision. Your vision is a detailed snapshot of the future of your business. It's not this pithy, cute statement. It's not a paragraph of haiku. Your vision story should be detailed, multiple pages, meaty, and it should be something that you can really bite into, very substantive. So number 1, where are we going? That destination. Number 2, how are we going to get to the vision? What's the route? What are the directives? What's the road? What are the roads that we've got to take? It's silly to imagine that you'll hit the road without aiming for a destination. My daughter just went to Baton Rouge this weekend with one of her buddies from college. They had about a 11-hour drive, and it's one thing to let your 19-year-old head off that far away, but fortunately, they knew their destination. They knew the roads that they had to take in order to get there. Every road trip is a series of following turn-by-turn directions on specific streets while also passing by other streets. Your unique core values are nothing more than intentional street signs along the route to your destination. For most, you'll avoid turning right on Apathy Lane or left on Muddy Expectations Boulevard. Instead, you'll use Intentional Relationship Street or Relentless Learning Circle. Whatever those values are, know your unique core values and you'll know the streets to take towards your destination. The third question every entrepreneur must ask is simply this: what does the automobile or the vehicle look like that we'll be driving towards the vision? I had a buddy of mine, Todd Morrison, actually just said this before I'm doing this recording right now. And he said there were times in his entrepreneurial journey where what was happening is he was working harder and harder and harder, and yet the grip, the traction in order to get to that next half mile, that next mile, just wasn't there. And then he got into the right vehicle for his business, and lo and behold, he'd spend half the amount of time working and make it double the distance of getting there. Are you in the right vehicle? Am I in the right vehicle? What does that business model look like that we have? So are we in the right vehicle to get in? Listen, the good old-fashioned org chart is a visual representation of what the vehicle of your business looks like, so that you and your team knows exactly the vehicle that you're riding in. We all need to know that. So what's the fourth question that every business owner and entrepreneur has to ask? What are the engine specs, that motor that you want to use to get to your destination? One of the most powerful tools in your business is a master process roadmap. Imagine this, your entire business on one digital sheet of paper, broken down into 4 systems: admin, operations, sales, marketing. The master process roadmap is the one that spells out all of the processes needed to send your business vehicle, remember the answer to that third question, motoring down the road to your destination. The final question that every entrepreneur has got to answer, that's that fifth question that we've got to answer for their employees and themselves, is why? Why are we going to the destination in the first place? A lot of times we just don't answer it, or we don't answer it with clarity. What's the emotion? What's the magnet? What's the draw? What's the thing that's attracting you to that particular destination? Why are you going that way and not that way? Whatever your answer is, that's your mission. So what are the 5 questions that every entrepreneur must spend time on? Number 1, where are we going? That's your vision story. Number 2, how are we getting there? Those are your unique core values, that turn-by-turn direction. Number 3, what vehicle are we taking? What does the automobile look like? Is it a boat? Is it a plane? Is it a car? Are we swimming? Are we running? Are we biking? What does that look like for us to get there? And number 4, what engine is powering the vehicle? That's those systems and processes. And finally, the 5th question that every business owner and entrepreneur has to ask for their team and for themselves: why? Why are we even going there in the first place? Listen, those are important questions, and now at the time of this recording, we're getting to the end of the year. Now's the time to be asking and answering those questions at the same time. Hey, again, we've got all sorts of content for you at YouTube. Just go subscribe to our channel, My Business on Purpose. Also, you can connect with us at the same name on Facebook. Check out our My Business on Purpose podcast, and then our latest webinar at bopwebinar.com. Coming up next week, and we'll be focusing on some of those questions you need to be asking as an entrepreneur. Hey, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on the Business Purpose platform.